Well, it is the second time that France has been in this position in a month, anxiously awaiting the name of its next prime minister after weeks of dramatic twists and turns. As a last-minute meeting amongst party leaders has ended, there's only slightly more clarity about what's to come. A centrist party leader saying that he expects Emmanuel Macron to announce the new premier in the coming hours and does not expect him to dissolve parliament, while the head of the Green Party said that the left is in a state of shock after the meeting made clear that the new prime minister will not be from the left. We'll cross now to Ellen Gainsford, who is at the Élysée Presidential Palace covering the story for us. Ellen, so what's the latest then, now that we've heard from a couple of those present at that meeting?
Well, yes, Erin, that's right. We did just see Marine Tonlier coming out of that meeting, and she's the head of the Green Party here. And she was really, I have to say, visibly quite angry. And she kept saying the French word sidéré, which means shaken or shocked. And so I think from her very strong reaction, we can gather that there's not going to be, the next prime minister is not going to be coming from the left-wing group. And she was also, one assertion that she made is that the socle commun, that's the alliance of Emmanuel Macron's centrist parties and right-wing, centre-right parties, that is falling apart. These were, in her words. And we saw some of those socle commun leaders also leaving. We have seen Edouard Philippe of Horizon, the former prime minister, walking past, and also Gabriel Attal of the Renaissance Party. But neither of them chose to make a comment at this time. And as for the Élysée, well, we did hear from them earlier saying that the moment now is for cooperation and for understanding, but it seems that little compromise has really been achieved so far from what we've seen coming out of that meeting.
Ellen Gainsford, thank you very much for that. Well, for more on this, then, France 24's international affairs editor Rochelle Ferguson-Bouyahi joins me on set. Hi, Rochelle.
Hi there.
It's worth adding that another party leader just said that Macron refuses to suspend retirement reform. He's not moving or budging on any of that. Others saying that Macron is working, the head of the Communist Party saying Macron is working more on composing a new government, nominating a new prime minister, than the possibility of dissolving parliament. So it seems like there's a bit more clarity, at least, on those issues, but no more clarity in the sense that, as Ellen suggested there, doesn't look like there's any more compromise or budging on some of the most contentious issues than there was prior to that meeting.
Well, absolutely. You said it there. This, push by Macron to avoid a dissolution is certainly coming out there. I mean, a reminder, this is an unprecedented political crisis here in France. And the fact that it's on such a tight calendar, we're hoping to have a budget that's put through, passes all the checks by at least the 31st of December of this year. So a lot needs to be done. A lot needs to be done quickly. It's a waiting game now. We're being told that in the next few hours, France will know who the new prime minister is. But it's speculation at this stage. I mean, Ellen touched on it there. We've seen the France's right wing, Bruno Retailleau, Laurent Wauquiez leaving, not a word being said. What are we to make of that? It's anybody's game, or anybody's guess, I should say. Gabriel Attal as well, leaving alone, of course, a former French prime minister who's been quite scathing, you might say, of Macron in recent days, saying, look, I don't understand what he's doing, and that, prime ministers who've been chosen are just too close to Macron, and that's why it's difficult for them to be able to work with other political parties who don't share the same political line. Olivier Faure, interestingly, still inside, unless he's left in the last minute or so, along with Boris Vallaud. They were chatting away on the sidelines. We could get some images of them there. Again, this is all speculation. We might be reading too much into it. But it's interesting because there were, this flurry of consultations with the outgoing Prime Minister Le Cornu on Monday. And leaving that meeting, we had Olivier Faure talking about the fact that there were no assurances from Le Cornu, but that the socialists would be okay to suspend the flagship pension reform, which is, of course, highly contested in France. Interestingly, Elizabeth Borne, again, a former Prime Minister, has said in the last day or so that she would be okay with suspending this. That's quite ironic because this was a reform that she pushed through herself that has been highly contested. So We don't know at this stage. We know that the clock is ticking. We don't know who will be the Prime Minister here in France. We know that the climate is a very particular one with, a lot of adversaries around for Emmanuel Macron, a lot of disgruntled, clearly political parties, notably, we've already said, Marine Tondelier, who's spoken about her being sidérée, Fabien Roussel, who spoke a short time ago saying it's always the same people. When are we going to see something new entering the political class? And that, again, has been echoed with quite a few political parties who say they're tired of seeing these same old faces. Let's see what happens from here, Aaron.
That's Olivier Faure of the Socialist Party speaking now, indeed. So it'll be interesting to hear what he says. We're also just seeing that Fabien Roussel, the head of the Communist Party, indeed said that he cannot accept it if Emmanuel Macron names a new prime minister from his camp, from the so-called socle commun. So it doesn't look like they're any closer to reaching consensus. We'll be bringing you more on this, of course, as it comes in here on France 24.